What did the Lakers prove in their Game 3 win?
Sale, they proved too much size, too much leadership, and their greats are too great.
Oh, wow.
Those are my three takeaways. As I looked at the game, I was listening to the broadcast, and Jim Jackson made a good point. He was the one calling the game. He was like, the Suns can't plant trees and expect them to grow overnight. What he meant by that was very simple. The Lakers got too much size that the Suns cannot do anything about this series. Lakers scored 58 points in the paint. They only scored 109 points in the game. So 50% of their points, roughly, came in the paint.
Sounds good.
So the Suns can't do anything about that. The Lakers did not even shoot the ball well, particularly from three. Only shot 25% from three, but still won the game by 14 points because there's just too much size. 15 offensive rebounds to the Suns' 8. And when you talk about rebounding, Sale, you know this. You said you played basketball for 1 day.
1 day in high school, 1 year when I was 8.
My dog played for 1 day, and in the first day you learn this. Rebounding is about size and effort.
Yeah.
That's truly it.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with skill. Yes, some of the greatest rebounders of all time. You can look at the trajectory of the ball and where you think it'll come off the rim, ask Dennis Rodman, et cetera. But for the most part, rebounding has to do with size and effort.
Okay.
So when you see the Lakers out-rebound the Suns 51-35 and out-offensive rebound the Suns 15-8, all of a sudden you realize,
What'd you realize?
Bro, it's just a size thing for the Lakers because the Suns were playing with effort. DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, as much as he could, was playing with effort. And then the leadership point, Sel. I think finally, I'm so grateful for this NBA playoffs because finally we're noticing the intangibles.
Oh,
in sports, it's so easy to notice the tangibles. Oh, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they can shoot better. But finally, this playoffs in particular, we're looking at certain matchups and saying, how come the more talented team is losing? Wait a second. Why the Mavericks beating the Clippers? Wait a second. The Suns are talent, as far as talent overall, top to bottom of the roster. They should be able to contend better, assuming Chris Paul was healthy, et cetera.
Okay.
But now we're realizing leadership matters. That's why the Clippers are being dismantled right now. And again, that's why I believe the Suns are getting dismantled. I said it yesterday, I'll say it today. Suns get 2 players ejected from the game, albeit late in the game, but 2 players ejected from the game? And 2 not just players, 2 starters. Only Laker that got a tech yesterday was your boy, Trez, and he got a tech on the bench. He played 0 minutes and got a tech. Make that make sense. But the leadership of the Lakers is greater. And then the last thing I think they proved to everybody, their greats are too great. AD, LeBron James combined for 55 points, combined for 18 boards, 9 assists. Obviously, LeBron had all 9 of the assists. Their greats are just too great. Devin Booker had a bad day to have a bad day. Only 19 points, 6 for 19 from the field. Chris Paul, not necessarily his fault, if you will, but Chris Paul, he's maligned right now. DeAndre Ayton been doing his thing. He's still in his bag, but that's not enough. Devin Booker got to go for 35 just for them to have a chance. So greats are too great, leadership is great, and their bigs are too big.
Okay, I love that. And I love when you talk and you give me the numbers and they're exact numbers and you say, oh, they combined for 54 points and 13 rebounds and 9. But you squint like you're really thinking about it. But
I am, because I ain't looking at the notes.
No, your notes either right there or you just memorized it. Boy, you were a talent up here. This boy, next level. You know me, I'm like, okay, they have 55 points. I love when you do that. Okay, what did I take away from the Lakers game? What did they prove in Game 3? They proved that they really are champions. And look,
Wait a second.
Hold up.
Say that again. Say that again. That's the quote of the show from Marcellus Wiley. I need to hear that one more time, sir.
The Lakers have proved to me that they really are champions. You know why? Because it took me back to the days when I was a champion, when I used to come home every weekend with those 4 gold medals and just put them on my mama's little living room stand, and they would block the TV, and then we had so many trophies and medals that people come over and be like, okay, enough. We get it. He's kind of good. He's kind of fast. But I'm not trying to brag about myself. I'm trying to take you into the mindset of what I think these guys are going through. I remember going through prelims. I remember going through the semis. I remember watching Usain Bolt. I remember watching Carl Lewis, Maurice Green. They were jogging in those prelims, as you said. They wouldn't go all out because you know what? We're going to see when it matters most what you going to do and how is it going to matter. I look at this Lakers team right now. They are limping. They are jogging. They're going against a wounded duck, and they're saying, we're just going to give you just enough to beat this team.
That's real.
To advance so they can bring home those medals, bring home that trophy to mama's house again. And it's interesting. It takes me back to football last year. We had this big argument about Tampa Bay all year long. Tampa Bay made me look right, even though I wasn't right. Tampa Bay just won. But you remember that first game in the wild card game against the Washington football team?
Yes, sir.
Only up 5
yes, sir.
in the fourth quarter. Fast forward to when they played the most dangerous team, Kansas City Chiefs. What did they do to them?
Dominated.
Smashed them boys. They didn't even get a touchdown out of Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking at this championship team, the Lakers, as having that championship medal. I'm looking at them saying we're going to do just enough to satisfy ourselves as we self-correct and as we gain our strength going forward. So I learned a lot about the Lakers because I really was starting to discount them. I was really starting to look at them like, they ain't got it this year. But I started to remember, man, when people started to doubt you, when they doubt any champion, it's not them early rounds that matter. It's when it matters most.
My dog. Let's go somewhere that I haven't heard other people go.
Oh.
I think the Lakers are physically and mentally tougher.
Yeah.
And if they're not physically and mentally tougher, because I don't want to cite the Phoenix Suns, they're physically and mentally more durable. Let me choose a kinder word. I say this because, Sal, basketball's a long season. You got to go through 82 traditionally, but then you got to go through the playoffs. You got to go through another 16 to 24, depending on how it goes, maybe even up to 32, etc. Remember AD, he twists his knee up in the game yesterday.
Again.
Not only does he twist his knee up, he catches an elbow from a 7-foot, 250-pound grown man during the course of the game. AD still gave you 34 and 11. Remember LeBron James? He gets put in a semi-arm bar, trying to rebound from a free throw, and LeBron James hasn't missed a pivotal moment all game. Chris Paul on the flip side, he gets hurt game 1, and it's impacted him game 2 and game 3. That's why I chose the word more durable as opposed to tough. I'm not going to come out here and say that Chris Paul is not tough. But what I am going to do is come out here and say, like, dang, Sal, he's just not durable enough. The one we all think about, 2018, remember the Rockets are playing the Warriors. Rockets have a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Finals. All they got to do is close out the Warriors, win one of the next two, excuse me. But then Chris Paul has his hamstring. You're right there on it. He has his hamstring, and what happens? The Golden State Warriors go on to win. But that wasn't it. Chris Paul, Western Conference Semis 2015, you remember Yo Clippers. They lost in 7. He missed the first 2 with a hamstring. Chris Paul, 2016, first round, it's a broken thumb. I'm not going to say that the Lakers greats are more mentally tough or physically tough, because I don't know. It's so hard to weigh toughness. But they sure as heck more durable. Nobody is healthy at this point in the playoffs. Nobody. Particularly not your star players. We know LeBron James ain't healthy. We know AD ain't healthy. But even in their lack of health, LeBron's still out there giving you 21, 9, 8. AD still out. AD took an elbow to the face, big dog, from a 7-footer. And was like, you know what? I could go out this game, but my team needs me, still gave you 34 and 11. So the Lakers also proved what nobody's truly talking about is they're just physically tougher.
Well, okay, now we're getting a little too glossy up here, you know. I mean, they look good. And a lot of what they look like is just the championship equity I'm affording them. I'm not affording them pure value, absolute value. You're not. This team is not playing like we watch Brooklyn play and then we watch the Lakers play. Right now, if you didn't know who they were in their histories, you was like, that team gonna beat that team when they face each other. But we don't know how that's gonna play out because of the intangibles you bring up and some of the other variables. But Lakers are overachieving in some fashions, some respects that I want to highlight. Free throw line, they're shooting better than they have all season. AD back-to-back games and that consistency, maybe his health. Even though he had the twisted knee, he's still starting to show a little more consistency. Schroeder, what the?
He is the gem.
Thank you.
He's the secret weapon that, we're not really talking about. He gave you, 24 2 games ago? I think he gave you 20 last night. Say what you got.
He averaged a 19, 3, 56%, 40 from 3. Yes. Here's the thing. Fast and Furious. I didn't watch the first 3. One of my homegirls actually is a big-time producer on there, and I was lying. Oh, yeah, I watch. I ain't watch them. I was like, I ain't into fast cars, you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, I said, let me catch one. I started watching from the 4th one on. And then I went back and watched them all, and I was like, these are amazing. But one thing I noticed is they got that little nitrous button, when they racing, Vin Diesel, where you gonna give me, I'm gonna get you. You ain't catching him. What the? Schroeder is nitrous, bro. I didn't see this coming. I knew he was a good player. I knew that he had a lot of skills, but boy, Schroeder is being a difference maker for this team. But that is an overachievement for the Lakers in totality. Let's talk about the underachievement from the Phoenix Suns and how they can catch up in this series. Jay Crowder, God dog, 2 for 20. Okay, he made another 3. 2 for 20 this series, 10%. That's increase. Their bench, not giving them the production that they usually get. Averaging 26 this series, 37 the entire season. You look at it, they're getting out rebounded. You said it because of size, but I don't know about that because everybody that I've talked to about rebounds all say the same thing. Most of them occur under the rim. So it is a skill. It is an understanding of how your shooter is shooting it and if he's going to miss, where to be. Dennis Rodman always talks about that. And the game that they won against the Lakers, they out-rebounded them. So it's somewhere in them in terms of potential. But you add all this up, man, look, it could look like track analogy. It could look like the prelims. The Lakers really are just jogging. Hey, we got a little K-tape on our knee. We got a little K-tape on the shoulder. We just going to get through. And that's why DK Metcalf looked so bad in that prelim because they were jogging and they still smoked that boy and he still got 15 fouls at 17th place. Last place, but they only call it 9th place. I don't know what the hell happened. Okay, so that was really bad right there. I had to sneak that one in. But if you got championship medal, the good thing, if I'm a Laker fan, if I'm one of the Lakers, we don't need to forecast how great we're going to be. We don't need to make y'all understand that in the second round, third round, when the finals come, we're going to look amazing right now. Just advance like we see in track, except DK Metcalf.
I hate you so much. The crux of all of this, and this can be simplified into one very simple sentence. What? The Lakers are always and have always been in full control of this series. And I think finally we're realizing this. The Lakers...
Game one?
Yes. And here's why we know that.
You lying?
If the Lakers had to win game one, they would have won game one. Ooh. LeBron James and the Lakers knew they did not have to win game one. They also knew this, though.
What?
They had to win game two. Because if you go down 0-2, I think you told us yesterday, 6.6% chance you will win the series.
You're right.
So the Lakers knew they had to win game two, and they did just that. The Lakers want to go ahead and win at home, and they've done just that. And now they realize, let's go ahead and go for blood. Let's go ahead and go for the kill, and let's end this. So ultimately, you can summarize all this, what the Lakers prove. They proved they've been better than the Phoenix Suns. They proved they are better than the Phoenix Suns. They proved they're going to be better than the Phoenix Suns. And to your point, they did, in fact, prove that they are champions.
I feel so bad watching you march in front of my house on this campaign trail. Go, Lakers, go. Go, Lakers, go. But I am going to join you on that campaign trail. But the only one thing can stop both of us. Campaign. That boy can cook. Come on, campaign. Say today.